And one of the trick Naka said to me, "Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. Today I'll give you an update on these three Japanese black pine we did about 6 months ago. This is a seedling which I started I worked on last time. It was upright tree. I cut off this branch and used a side branch to turn up to give the angle, the turn angle, which is something you can really do very easily with black pine or with pine in general. And I'll show you what next as a next step. It grown a lot in 6 months, and I think in another 2 years it'll be a really, really nice shohin. And this one I would do. I got it from a fellow from my bonsai club. He was giving up his bonsai hobby, and I bought it, and I worked on it for about a year. And I cut off quite a bit and start over again. I'll show you what I do. So this tree I gotten about a year and a half ago from a bonsai club member who was moving out of the area, and I repotted it. And I would say this tree is probably 15 years old. This is actually a historic pine. Mrs. Yamaguchi, when she was a little girl, came out of the concentration camp. She sent for the seeds from Japan from her father. It's a very special variety. I never quite caught the name of a variety, but you can see the trunks are quite corking. It's not quite cork pine, but it breaks up like a turtle shell, really nice. And so this is about an 80-year-old tree. I'm not going to work on it today because I want the candle to come out for the tree to gain strength. But the next video I'll do is I'll cut the roots severely to show you how over time you need to improve the roots as part of the tree. And then later on, maybe towards the middle of the summer, when the candles quit growing, I'll do the tree. And I'm actually having a little dilemma deciding how to make this tree all the way keep it full or make it thin out or whatever. So I'll decide over time. You know, this is kind of a big tree, so I don't know if you're really interested. It's almost a landscaping tree. But if you're interested, let me know. So I would do a video on that to show you how to work on a mature pine tree and maybe even to reshape it altogether. So we shall see. So please let me know. So this tree was actually growing like this. It's up, straight up almost. And I cut this off, and you can see where I cut off is starting to branch. And then I use the side branch to make it up to get it to turn naturally without wiring. And so if you notice here, I cut it here. And what happens is that these all grew with a candle, and then I can cut it again to give it a nice turn. In this case, I have two choices. If I want to make the tree shorter to about this height, I'll cut off here. They're still green. Each one of these clumps will come out as a branch, so I have a really nice short bonsai. Just for the heck of it, let me do that to show you what will happen. So the next time, 6 months from now, you know what I said all the time is to actually leave some green above where you want to cut so it will branch out. So I'll cut it here. I think that's a much more right size. And the old Japanese bonsai book basically says you try to leave a grouping of a green here, and that's where it will shoot out. But I don't think I need to do anything. It will shoot out naturally. So right now it's a little sparse, but it will fill out. And so one of the things you can do is that pinch off the needles that points down because you don't need them. And then when they grow up, it would more the pointing up as you see in the most bonsai book. Now, I can actually speed up the process by wiring, but just to make my point, I will actually clip it to show you, but like these two are redundant branches, but I'll keep it to thicken this part of the trunk, and I'll leave this one to thicken that part of the trunk. I can cut it much later anytime I want. And so the tree basically will be like, again, I can keep this one even though I'm gonna cut it later because it's kind of going off like this. But I think that's all I need to do, just leave it, let it grow, because give it time to shape up, to thicken and so forth. It's already small, planted in a small enough pot to slow it down. But if it's a shohin, that's okay. The trunk will be in about a year, about this size, which will fit a nice looking shohin. So that's the little tree, I would say 3 years old at maximum, probably like couple-year-old seedling, a Japanese black pine. So with that then, let me put that aside. So this one has grown a lot. You can see the needle start growing pretty tall. And so I will show you how to handle the needle, or the candle rather, and how to work on it to shape it. The thing that I cannot change is the base and the trunk. So I should capitalize on this as to build on. That's my technique to what I call the additive manufacturing technique. So this is my basic, and then I use this to build on to complement this, and then choose a front that way. So from that standpoint, you can see the angle is all very interesting. So depending your own preferences, this could be an angle. In my mind, this part shows most of the interesting curves. So for example, you can do some really drastic moves to make the bonsai drastic. So for example, I can cut it off here and make this into a jin, and then I move this one up. You can see this tree is really, really interesting, and then I can come off from this. You see that? See, this is the tree right there, from here to here. And then the other possibility is using all what I got here and then try to optimize some. For example, I try to make this one come down to give it a little bit more feature. So even though it goes up, it comes down. I can certainly make it go this way to make it less drastic, but accentuate this curve. I don't know. I don't think I want to be too drastic, but it's drastic enough, this tree. But I tell you, this, with all this gone, very simple, would be quite a spectacular tree. But don't be so drastic, but rather I think I'll work on this branch to pull it up. Again, I prefer to use wire to pull because actually it's more natural. But again, that's being silly sometimes because the little branches wiring is very efficient. But in terms of rough positioning, I think anchor wire is really the best. I got it down to this position. And then I wanted this to come up a little bit this way. So I used another anchor wire to hold it up. Again, it's a very Mickey Mouse, but works, and it doesn't take much time, and I can easily remove it in a couple months so that it will not grow the tree. So I find the anchor wire is a very efficient way to change the design very quickly without much effort, although it seems like I'm spending more time than I should. So now let's look close up at the candle. There was a main one coming up. So if I want to have a apex here, then I'll definitely let this grow until it greens out, and then I cut off where I want the height to be. But in this case, I think the apex is probably here. So I'm gonna let this one grow, but cut off this one so that it will branch out even a little more. So you can see the likelihood is that the branching would occur here. right? And this will come out. And so I can actually cut off this one. So what you do is you go around and cut off all of the candle that you don't need. So for example, this would be a very good example close up. You can see this candle is growing up nicely here. So I really don't want it to be that high. I'd rather have it wire it someday that the branch is coming out here. So I cut it here. You can see there's still some green. So this will all shoot out, and someday I will have branches coming out this way to fill out this hole. In the meantime, I just let it go because that's fine. It will strengthen the tree, and then I have more opportunity to shape it. So this one, for example, this one candle is coming up, and there's a little bud coming out here. So if I cut it here, I don't need this wasting energy to grow this direction, but I want this energy to go into that direction. And the same thing with this. I want it to grow to the side, so I cut off the top. And the same with this. So this way would thicken quite readily. And these two buds, for example, one is going up, one is going that way. I cut off this one, so all the energy will go that way because I want the branch to go that way. So you just think about what you want to do. It's no different from cutting the bud off a evergreen tree to force the bud to go in the direction you want it to be. And the same thing with this, I can do a little bit of bending, and then I can leave this one grow because I may want to have a little thicker, more opportunity here. And this one, it's going in the wrong direction, so I cut it, and this will come out to fill it. And so I just go around and cut off all the candles I don't need, or where I want the growth to direct. And it takes me 5 minutes, then I'm all done. I don't need any of these buds. I just want it to grow to the side. But you don't have to do it right the first time because it will grow back for you to have more opportunity to shape it. I would say a couple of months from now. And I'll give you an update on this tree, every 6 months or so, 3 months or 6 months or so, so that you can see the progress of how to make a pine bonsai. That's it. So that's what I do now, and then I'll show you an update 6 months from now. Okay? So here it is. Again, I think this is the front. You can see the nice turn. Again, this would have been a very good design. You see how this tree comes up and goes up, and then this one comes down, and maybe even get rid of this. But that's a bunjin style that will look incredible, but it would be 3 to 5 years before I can see the result. And I don't want to wait that long, so I will not do that and take the more conservative approach. So with that in mind, then let me move on to the next one, the oldest one. Almost every angle looks good, and it's very traditional design, the triangle. And you can see the rootage all radially out, a very nice rootage, because Jerry, the guy that sold me the tree, has been very careful with it. But I will still trim off more. I don't need all that many roots to accentuate the age. So for example, this root is nice. In a sense, this is more closer to the ground, so I'll probably just cut this. You see, and if you just keep doing it, you won't hurt the tree, but over time it will start to look nice. Like this really isn't right. So this will be the dominant root coming out. And I probably don't need this one, but I'll leave it alone. Like this root is going sideways, so I cut it. Like this one has a really nice root down here to accentuate, so I'll cut this one off. You can see I cut off quite a bit, but there's still plenty of root to save the tree. See how this root is dominant? And I want it to become more dominant over time. So I just cut this. So you see, it's now simpler, and it will look nicer. Simplicity is the key to bonsai, right? So the roots are getting much nicer now. Since I'm doing it, well, maybe I shouldn't do it all at once to save the tree. So in a sense to encourage more growth. So I would just quit right here in terms of the roots. So now let me work on the tree again. I don't think there's any major changes to be made. The apex and all that are all pretty good. Now I just need to keep going. There's a possibility of tilting up a little bit more. See how does that look? Yeah, I think this little tilting up a little bit may be good. So each time when you repot it, you try to optimize a little bit until you get it exactly right. I don't think there's much that I should do or can do, but what I'll do now is to clean it up a bit. One of the things you can do is pinch off all the bottom branches or the bottom needle. And when the needle comes out, the candle becomes needle. Given there are a lot of candles, quite dense, the needle should grow pretty short. And one of the tricks Naka said to me as a joke, I said, how do you deal with having long needles? He said, well, just pull them off. So that's what I'm doing more or less. Some that are obviously too long to be out of place, but I don't need to do too much of that. But what's more important is to cut the needle so that when cut the candle, so when the needle comes out there, it's shorter. So let me just go from the beginning, from the top down, apex down, and clean off the needles. So first of all, I have to decide on the apex. I'll be a conservative, don't cut off too much. I don't think I want this to grow any taller. So I just pinch out the major needle candle. I guess you can see the candles are quite easily pinched off. So just work one tier down at a time. To thin it off a bit so that it doesn't get cluttered. So what I will do is to show you this tree 3 months from now. So you can see I'm not making any major changes, but what the nudging would do to change the look of this tree. And if you do that 3 times a year clipping, I think the needles will become quite uniform and short in length. Basically trying to clip off a little bit of the candle to make the needles short when they come out. So I basically cut off the needles to encourage branching, to shorten the needle and get it in the direction that I wanted. And I try to thin off as much as I can because oftentimes less is more to show the tree without a clutter. So you have to pinch off some excess needle. In about 3 to 6 months, I would redo this to show you the next step for you to learn from, for us to learn from. It's not too critical because I can always clip it later, but that's all I would do for now to increase the ramification. So these are the 3 trees we did. I believe this one is probably the Mikawa variety that branches out very nicely and reasonably rough bark. And so what I did is update the 3 months to shorten the needle and make the needles more uniform and fill up the branches for all these trees. This is probably a 15-year-old, 10-year-old, 3-year-old tree. And what I would do next time if I do that is I will actually now wire each of the branch to get it to the final position rather than using the slower clip and grow method because it's close enough. So with that in mind then, I thank you for watching. Please click like if I am being informative. That's my reward. And I see you next week, but please subscribe to our channel so we can notify you of future video. On the big pine that I showed you earlier, what I would do is that will be a future video. I'll work on the roots and also, or maybe separately or the same video on the top on how to reshape the tree when it's overgrown a bit. So with that then, thank you very much. See you next time.